The Rumbling. The Rumbling is the largest act of mass destruction in Attack on Titan, and one of the most devastating events in all of anime. It begins when Eren Yeager gains full control of the founding Titan. This allows him to command the Wall Titans that have been hidden inside the massive walls protecting Paradise Island. These Titans are enormous beings, each one several stories tall, and together they form an unstoppable force of destruction. The events leading to the Rumbling are shaped by long-standing global hatred toward Eldians. The world outside Paradise seems as dangerous because of their connection to Titans. Over time, this fear turns into a plan to wipe out everyone on Paradise Island. Eren learns about this future and believes that peaceful coexistence is impossible, which pushes him towards the extreme decision to destroy the outside world first. Once activated, the Wall Titans begin marching across the planet. They move in a single massive formation, flattening everything in their path. Entire cities are crushed within moments. Populations have no realistic chance to escape because the speed and scale of the Titans are overwhelming. The heat released from their bodies also destroys the environment around them, adding more destruction beyond physical impact. Over the course of 4 days, the rumbling spreads across continents. The first major region destroyed is the northern continent of Marley, which is completely wiped out. From there, the destruction continues across the rest of the world. People are killed instantly under the feet of the Titans. Families, soldiers, and entire cultures disappear without distinction. The suffering is not only physical, but also psychological, as survivors watch helplessly while their world ends. By the time Eren is stopped by his former friends, approximately 80% of the global population has been killed. This is estimated to be around 1.8 billion people. Nations are destroyed, trust between survivors is broken, and the future becomes unstable. Even though the Titans are gone, the consequences of the Rumbling continue to shape the world. The Eclipse. The Eclipse in Berserk is a dark ritual that transforms ambition into absolute horror. It is the event that marks the rebirth of Griffith, the leader of the Band of the Hawk, into Femto, a member of the God Hand. The eclipse happens once every 216 years and is triggered by the activation of a Bayolet, a mysterious object connected to fate and sacrifice. The events leading to the eclipse begin with Griffith's downfall. After building a powerful mercenary group and dreaming of his own kingdom, Griffith loses everything. He's captured, tortured, and left physically broken. During this time, Guts, his closest companion and strongest warrior, leaves him to pursue his own path. This abandonment causes Griffith to lose control of his emotions and fall into complete despair. When the Bayolet activates, Griffith and the Band of the Hawk are transported into a different dimension called the Nexus. There, supernatural beings known as apostles appear. Griffith is given a choice and sacrifices comrades in exchange for becoming something beyond human. In his broken state, he agrees. This decision condemns everyone in the Band of the Hawk. What follows is a massacre. The apostles begin killing the mercenaries in brutal and relentless ways. The battlefield turns into a place of pure suffering. Many soldiers die without understanding what is happening. The violence is not quick or clean, it's slow and personal, designed to break hope completely. The most traumatic moment involves Guts and Casca. Casca is violently assaulted by Femto, while Guts is forced to watch and is injured while trying to reach her. Guts loses his arm and eye during the struggle. The emotional damage is permanent, especially for Casca, who loses her mental stability after the event. The eclipse ends with Griffith's transformation into Femto. The Band of the Hawk is completely destroyed. Guts and Casca survive, but are marked as sacrifices, meaning they are permanently hunted by supernatural forces. The eclipse is remembered as one of the most tragic betrayals and violent events in anime history. Third Impact. Third Impact in Neon Genesis Evangelion represents the collapse of human individuality and identity. It is the final stage of the Human Instrumentality Project, a plan designed to merge all human consciousness into a single shared existence. The goal of this project is to remove human loneliness by eliminating the barriers between individuals. The events leading to Third Impact are deeply psychological. The main character, Shinji Ikari, struggles with emotional pain, isolation, and a lack of self-worth throughout the series. At the same time, secret organizations such as SEAL and Gendo Ikari work to trigger instrumentality using powerful biological weapons known as Evangelions. In the end of Evangelion film, Third Impact begins when the being Lilith merges with Evangelion Unit 1. This fusion creates a massive anti-AT field that spreads across the Earth. The AT field is what separates individuals spiritually and physically. When it is destroyed, the boundaries between people disappear completely. As the event unfolds, every human being on Earth loses their physical form. Their bodies dissolve into substance called LCL, which represents the original state of life. At this point, all human souls begin merging into a single collective consciousness. There is no separation between thoughts or identities. Every person becomes part of one shared mind. At first, this state appears peaceful because pain and loneliness no longer exist. However, it also means the end of individuality. No one exists as a separate person anymore. Every memory, thought, and feeling becomes shared and indistinguishable. The psychological center of the event is Shinji, whose emotional breakdown helps trigger instrumentality. Eventually, Shinji rejects this unified existence. He chooses a world where people can exist separately separately, even if it means experiencing pain and sadness. As a result, some individuals are able to return to physical form. Shinji and Asuka are among them. However, most of humanity remains lost or transformed. The world is left covered in LCL and reduced to a broken, unfamiliar state. Third Impact is catastrophic because it destroys not just life, but the concept of being human as an individual. Devilman Crybaby Ending. The ending of Devilman Crybaby shows the complete destruction of humanity through fear, violence, and emotional collapse. The story escalates when demons are revealed to exist among humans. This discovery triggers widespread panic and paranoia across the world. The situation worsens when Ryo Asuka, who is later revealed to be Satan, manipulates global media to expose Devilman, Akira Fudo. This causes humans to believe that demons are everywhere. Fear spreads rapidly, and society begins to break apart. Governments lose control as people turn against each other. Mass hysteria leads to violent purges. Humans begin killing anyone they suspect of being a demon. This results in chaos where innocence no longer matters. One of the most painful moments is the death of Miki Makamura. She is a kind and innocent character. She is murdered by a mob driven by fear and confusion. Her death marks the emotional breaking point of the story. After this, Akira fully transforms into Devilman and becomes enraged by humanity's cruelty. At the same time, Ryo reveals his true identity as Satan. The final battle between Akira and Ryo begins on a planet already devastated by war and destruction. Their fight is massive in scale, destroying what remains of civilization. The animation becomes chaotic, showing abstract destruction and overwhelming power. During the fight, Ryo kills Akira, cutting him apart. However, instead of triumph, Ryo is filled with grief as he realizes his love for Akira. At the end of the conflict, God appears and destroys the remaining life on Earth. Humanity is completely wiped out. The planet becomes empty and silent. Even Satan is left alone, grieving the loss of Akira and trapped in a cycle of suffering that repeats endlessly. Shibuya Incident. The Shibuya Incident is one of the most destructive and carefully planned attacks in Jujutsu Kaisen. It takes place on October 31st in Shibuya, Tokyo, where a massive barrier traps over 1 million civilians inside the area. The entire operation is planned by Kinjaku, an ancient sorcerer who aims to remove Satoru Gojo from the battlefield. Gojo is the strongest sorcerer in the world and acts as the main protection against curses. The plan succeeds when Gojo is tricked and sealed inside the prison realm. Once Gojo is removed, the balance of power collapses immediately. After this, curses and curse users begin a coordinated massacre inside Shibuya. The area becomes a war zone where civilians and sorcerers are trapped together. Mahito, one of the main antagonists, uses his technique called idol transfiguration to turn humans into monstrous beings that attack others. These transformed humans create even more chaos and death. Many sorcerers are killed during the incident. One of the most notable deaths is Kinto Nanami, a respected mentor figure. His death represents the emotional weight of the battle and the loss of experienced fighters. The situation escalates further when Ryomen Sukuna takes control of Yuji Itadori's body. Sukuna unleashes his domain expansion called Malevolent Shrine. This technique creates a massive area of guaranteed destruction. Within seconds, a large section of Shibuya is erased, killing tens of thousands of people instantly within a radius of about 140 meters. The aftermath of the incident leaves Tokyo severely damaged. The strongest defender is sealed. Many sorcerers are dead or injured, and the structure of the Jujutsu world is weakened. Civilians are traumatized, and society begins to lose trust in its ability to control curses. Chimera Ant Catastrophe. The Chimera Ant Catastrophe in Hunter x Hunter is one of the most disturbing near-extinction level events in the series. It begins when a wounded Chimera Ant Queen washes up on the shores of the Neo-Green Life Sanctuary, also known as NGL. This region is isolated from modern civilization and is meant to preserve nature. However, this isolation allows the Chimera Ants to grow without early detection. Chimera Ants are extremely dangerous creatures that originate from the Dark Continent. They possess a biological ability called phagogenesis, which allows the queen to pass on traits from anything she consumes to her offspring. This means that every generation becomes stronger, smarter, and more dangerous depending on their diet. After consuming humans, the queen begins producing humanoid ants with increasing intelligence and power. Over time, the colony evolves rapidly. This leads to the birth of the king, Meruem, who becomes one of the most powerful beings in the entire series. His intelligence and strength far exceed normal human limits. The situation escalates when the Chimera Ants invade the Republic of East Gorto. They assassinate the nation's leadership and take control of the country. The royal guards use powerful nin abilities to manipulate and control the population. Civilians are forced into a cruel process called selection, where they're tested and often killed to determine their usefulness to the king. This process results in the mass killing of 538,112 people, including both civilians and soldiers. Entire cities are destroyed, and the nation collapses completely. Survivors are left without leadership or protection, turning the country into chaos and displacement. Crisis reaches its peak when the Hunter Association launches a final attack. Isaac Netero, the chairman, fights Miruum in a desperate battle. When he realizes he cannot win, he activates a forbidden weapon called the Poor Man's Rose. This bomb is hidden inside his own body and detonates to kill Miruum. The explosion also kills Netero. The aftermath is tragic. Miruum and his royal guards die slowly from poison caused by the bomb. The Chimera Ant threat is covered up by authorities, who claim it was a mass suicide by East Gorto. Saiyan Extinction campaigns. The Saiyan Extinction campaign carried out by Frieza is one of the most brutal acts of genocide in Dragon Ball history. Emperor Frieza ruled over a past part of the universe and used the Saiyan race as a warrior force to conquer planets for him. Despite using them as tools, he always feared their potential to grow stronger, especially the legend of the Super Saiyan. Because of this fear, Frieza decides to eliminate the entire Saiyan race. At this point, most Saiyans are already spread across the universe on missions. The Saiyan homeworld, planet Vegeta, is left vulnerable. Prince Vegeta is away from the planet and unaware of what is about to happen. Frieza begins his plan by killing King Vegeta and his elite guards without difficulty. This shows the overwhelming power difference between Frieza and the Saiyans. After this, he gathers the remaining Saiyan population on the planet. Without warning, Frieza destroys planet Vegeta using a massive energy attack, known as a Death Ball. The attack strikes the core of the planet, causing a full planetary explosion. Destruction is instant and total. Nearly the entire Saiyan race is wiped out in a single moment. Only a few survivors remain, including Goku, who was sent to Earth as a baby, and Vegeta, who was off-world. Frieza later lies about the cause of the disaster, claiming that a meteor destroyed the planet. This hides his role in the genocide from the wider universe. However, Frieza's destruction is not limited to the Saiyans. He continues his campaign of mass killings across multiple planets. One major example is planet Namek, where he kills countless Namekians while searching for the Dragon Balls. His actions on Namek also lead to the planet's destruction during his fight with Goku, the Great Cataclysm. The Great Cataclysm in Fire Force is the foundational disaster that shaped the entire world of the series. It occurred 250 years before the main story, and was caused by a connection between Earth and a parallel dimension called Adola. This event was triggered through the power of the Adola Burst, a rare and mysterious energy source. The Cataclysm is believed to have been orchestrated by a mysterious being known as the Evangelist. Her goal was to destroy the existing world and recreate it as a new sun. This plan involved using the power of multiple Adola Burst users, known as the 8 Pillars. When the Cataclysm begins, flames spread across the entire planet. These are not normal fires. They're supernatural flames connected to Adola. These fires destroy land, cities, and entire civilizations. Continents are torn apart, and large parts of the Earth become uninhabitable. The disaster causes the complete collapse of global civilization. Governments fall, infrastructure is destroyed, and humanity is reduced to scattered survivors. Many people are affected by spontaneous human combustion, where humans suddenly ignite and transform into infernals, mindless flame creatures. The only stable remaining region is the Tokyo Empire. It becomes a heavily fortified city where the last remnants of humanity gather for survival. Society is rebuilt under strict control, and fire brigades are formed to deal with infernals. In the aftermath, a religion called the Holy Soul Temple emerges. It worships the sun and views infernals as souls that need peace. This religion becomes deeply tied to how society understands fire and death. However, the Cataclysm does not fully complete its intended purpose. The combined will of the 8 Pillars is not strong enough to fully transform the world. This means the apocalypse fails halfway, leaving the world damaged but still existing. Gun Devil Attack. The Gun Devil attack in Chainsaw Man is one of the most devastating and sudden acts of mass death in modern anime. The Gun Devil is not a traditional villain. It is a manifestation of humanity's fear of guns. Because of this, it exists as a powerful devil driven only by the instinct to kill. Governments around the world are aware of the Gun Devil and treat it as a global threat. Nations compete to collect its fragments, believing they can control its power. However, the Gun Devil itself remains uncontrollable and destructive. On the day of the attack, the Gun Devil appears in the United States. Without warning, it begins moving across the world at extreme speed. In just 26 seconds, it travels through multiple countries, killing people instantly wherever it passes. The total death toll reaches approximately 1.2 million people. These deaths occur in real time and are completely unavoidable. Schools, hospitals, streets, and public spaces become instant zones of mass death. People die before they can even react or understand what is happening. The attack ends almost as quickly as it begins. After its rampage, the Gun Devil disappears, leaving behind destruction and silence. There's no battle or resistance that stops it. It simply moves and kills until it vanishes. The impact on the world is permanent. Survivors are left with extreme trauma. Fear of guns becomes even more intense, and the Gun Devil itself becomes a symbol of unstoppable terror. Even fragments of its body are treated as highly dangerous weapons, sought after by different organizations. Anti-Spiral Extermination. The anti-spiral extermination in Gurren Lagann represents one of the largest-scale conflicts in anime history. The anti-spirals are an ancient species that once discovered the dangers of spiral power, a force linked to evolution and growth. They believe that unchecked spiral power will eventually destroy the universe through a future event called the Spiral Nemesis. To prevent this, the anti-spirals decide to stop all spiral-based life forms. Their solution is extreme. Instead of controlling them, they choose to eliminate any species that shows signs of growth or expansion. Their actions span across galaxies. Entire civilizations are destroyed before they can evolve too far. Countless spiral-powered species are erased from existence. These exterminations are done with precision and logic, without emotion or hesitation. The anti-spiral homeworld is revealed to be made of compressed dead worlds. This shows that their history is filled with destruction on a universal scale. They've already wiped out countless galaxies in their effort to maintain stability. When the final conflict begins, the protagonists are trapped inside a multi-dimensional labyrinth created by the anti-spirals. Inside this space, they experience endless simulations of failure and despair. Each reality shows versions of the universe where hope is destroyed. Suffering caused by the anti-spirals is not always physical, it is existential. Entire species are erased without trace, meaning their existence, history, and potential are completely deleted. It is as if they never existed at all. Despite this, the anti-spirals believe their actions are necessary to protect the universe from collapse. They see themselves as guardians maintaining order at any cost.